everybody. Welcome to a life group video. I'm Anthony.
I'm James.
And we are happy to be here with you in your group today. We are looking at Exodus 3 through 4, the life of Moses. And I got a question. James, what's the biggest task you have felt underqualified for?
Wow. I think for me, the biggest task that I felt underqualified for, it's probably a pretty good parallel, but church work. I never envisaged myself working at a church.
Sure.
And I always thought, like, man, that requires patience, and that requires grace, and that requires all the things that I just did not think I had.
Yeah.
And so the last year of working in a church has been a lesson in all of those things. But
You've been doing great.
thanks, man.
You're welcome. Mine has to do with weddings. I've performed one wedding, and I've also filmed a number of other ones. And when I step into those, I feel like you shouldn't trust me with this.
Why?
Whether it's the performing or it's just the capturing. Because I'm like, something's going to happen. The camera's going to explode, and it's all going to be gone, and they're not going to have it, and it's going to be all my fault. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's a little bit irrational. But, things have happened, accidentally formatting a card or something, which
Sure.
causes you to lose.
Like one of those
all the
photographers
film.
that fall in the fountains. Have you seen those videos?
Haven't done that, but yes, I've seen those. Or what's another thing? Not turning on the mic.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Just because those feel like you're not going to recreate that.
That's true. And plus, a wedding is that happens once. You can't redo that.
Yep.
No, I see it. That's not irrational.
So those moments, I feel like you should go with someone else. But so far, nothing bad's happened. All's pretty good.
Okay.
Well, with that, go ahead and hit pause and share amongst the group. Discuss this question together. What's the biggest task you've ever felt underqualified for? Looking at Exodus 3 through 4, we're not going to read all of it because it's a big chunk. But if you want to hit pause, feel free to do that as a group. Question number 1 says, why did God call Moses to lead his people? For those of you who don't remember, Moses, 40 years prior to this story in 3 through 4, he was a prince in Egypt. He was at a very high seat of honor as a Jewish man. Pretty interesting. He wasn't born Egyptian, but he was adopted in, became a prince, had this high seat of authority, and then he murdered an Egyptian slave master, and then that's why he ran away and where he's at today. And it's while he's on the run, it's while he's feeling underqualified that God comes to him and says, you're going to be the one to deliver my people, which he had the heart to do initially. That's why he murdered that Egyptian man, was that he saw them beating other Jewish people, and it made his heart really upset. So he had that passion and that desire initially.
Maybe manifest in not quite the right way.
Exactly. And so that's where God comes in and is able to shift it in the positive. David Guzik says this: God's reply is intended to take Moses' focus off of himself and where it should be, on God, because he says, well, who am I to do this? And he's like, listen, it's about who I am as God. Therefore, God never answered the question, who am I? Instead, he reminded Moses, I will certainly be with you. So that's why he intentionally takes Moses, because it's not about Moses, it's about who God is. He had the slight desire there, but it's about who God is in the situation. Question 2 says, what is going to make up for Moses' list of shortcomings that he shares with God? You know what it is?
It's the fact that God is going to be with him.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how short you are, how tall you are, how well-spoken you are, how out of shape, in shape you are. None of that matters. It's all about who our Lord is. He is going to come in, and he is going to do infinitely more than we could ever ask, think, or imagine. Take a moment, hit pause, and discuss more as a group.
Welcome back. Hope you had some good discussion there. So admit where you are. Question number 3. Are you living as a person constantly trying to qualify for God's love or God's plan for your life?
Yeah.
I feel like this is one of those easy traps that a lot of Christians fall into, where you feel like you have to earn it. Help that old lady across the street, or I don't know, whatever it is. You feel like you have to earn the love of God by doing something. And as we know, absolutely not true.
Yeah.
You don't earn God's love. It is given to you.
Yeah.
Are there times where you feel like that?
Yeah, the second part mostly, like when it comes to his love, like there's something in my brain that says it's just there. So I don't think I'm fighting for that as much as I'm fighting to be qualified for his plan for my life.
Sure.
So, if I compare myself to other people in ministry or whatever, other fathers or other husbands, then I think like, okay, if God's called me to be a good fill in the blank, then I better start doing X, Y, Z.
Sure.
And so rather than trying to like live and exist in, my quirkiness and being like, this is the best because it's who I am and who God's created me to be, I feel like I'm constantly trying to refit myself to look like some other godly person.
I feel like that's a trap that we all fall into, like just the idea of comparison and, comparing your journey to someone else's journey isn't going to work because your callings are not the same. God has called each one of us individually and specifically. Number 4, Moses needed Aaron and God provided. Is there an Aaron in your life?
Great. You know what? I mean, my best Aaron, I guess, is like my wife. Just the perfect complement to me that she is. Because when it comes to Moses, he didn't speak well, so what did he do? He went and got his brother Aaron, and Aaron all of a sudden is now the mouthpiece where Moses is still receiving stuff. So in the same way, I think my wife is a really strong complement to who God's created me to be.
That's good. I think there's probably a few people in my life. I feel like I have to say my wife now. You've set the bar. Obviously, my wife is, that is a good way to put it, the compliment. Just because we're so different in so many ways. She's great with people. I'm not so much good with people. And so, thanks. Yeah. And so, I think it's just a good idea to have people around you who complement your, where you fall weak. Yeah. Other people, that's their wheelhouse, that's their strength. And so it's just a good idea to surround yourself with those kind of people. So take a second, talk about those things amongst your group, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Welcome back. Interpret the passage. Question number 5 says, Exodus 3:12 gives the clear and direct call of what Moses is going to do and how to act after the victory. Let me read that real quick. 3:12 says, He said, But I will be with you, and this shall be the sign for you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, victory, you shall serve God on this mountain. What can this speak to today's believers? I think, James, it sets a pattern before us that after victory, after salvation, after this moment of being brought out of a spiritual Egypt, then we're to serve God. Not only serve God and just like help set up some chairs at the weekend service or something like that, but in every area, facet of our life to serve, worship, and glorify Him for what He's already done for us, right?
Absolutely. And what He's done is so infinitely more than, anything that we could have asked or imagined. Ephesians 3:20. And so for what He's done for us, it should be just the least we can do to turn around and serve Him with everything we are.
Yeah, so I think that carries over into so much of our life. It really should. And we could sit on that for 20, 30 minutes alone, asking ourselves, okay, He's brought us out of something. Are we serving Him? Or did we take ourselves back to Egypt? Question 6 says, what encouragement can one decipher from Exodus 4:29? 4:29 says this, Then Moses and Aaron went and gathered together all the elders of the people of Israel. The fruit, the good thing that I see from that is Moses wasn't alone. Moses was with God, but he also had his Aaron, and he had the wisdom of all of the elders of Israel. So there's just something beautiful about that community, about walking like that, and not just doing it on your own. So if you're starting a business, you're not just locked away in your own garage trying to figure it out. You find yourself an Aaron, you pray about it with God, and then you're also going to other people who have seen and done some life that could help corral and build the thing from the bottom up.
Absolutely. Agree.
Feel encouraging?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very well. We'll go ahead hit pause on the video and discuss questions 5 and 6 as a group. All right, James, we're looking at take this passage into your life. Question number 7 says, are we intentionally seeking God's voice and wisdom in life? And I feel like that's too easy of a yes or no.
Sure. I think it can also happen on a variant of degree. So, I mean, you can say a little bit, but not a lot, you know? And I guess it's important to figure out what that looks like. What does seeking God's voice and wisdom in your life look like? Does that just mean asking for wisdom, you know, in prayer?
Yeah.
Or does that mean continually looking out throughout the day at opportunities that you're presented to gain more wisdom or to, you know, to hear from God? Yeah. Are you in your word? That's the most basic way that, you know, God speaks to us is through his word.
Yep.
And so I think it's a big question in some ways, and I think there are little things that we can do to add to that, to bolster that. Yeah. And so certainly my answer to that would be a little, but probably not enough.
Yeah. That active practice of listening is a hard one to remember. And then, which this leads us right into question number 8. I won't answer it too much. So for you guys to discuss and end your time together, underneath Hear from God, question 8 says, is there a particular area where we need to release fear and seek God's wisdom in a situation? So we've gotten through Moses' life here in 3 and 4, and we see that he disqualifies himself, but God requalifies him not because of who Moses is, but because of who God himself is. And then he surrounds himself with some other good people to help him take this call that God has given him. So now for you, what's God calling you to do? What is God speaking into your life? And find that situation and attack it with some friends, with some family, and with the Lord. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Very, very much, sir. And we will see you guys next week. Adios.